plagiarism related to the ethics. Okay, ethics related to the research. Okay, so while doing the research, this ethics is very important. Okay, so which are the different parameters they are included in ethics, or what is meant by ethics that we have seen in last class. So ethics in research methodology or ethics in research, this involves the application of the fundamental, okay, the fundamental research. So basically, when we see the research in basic science, okay, in the basic science, we have seen the fundamental research. So related to that research ethics, it involves the application of the fundamental ethical principles, okay, ethical principles related to the research activities. So we have discussed on the many parameters or many things which are related, which are correlated with the this scientific misconduct. Okay, so scientific misconduct, this will happen sometimes. This will happen by mistakenly, means unknowingly. Okay, many of the researchers, we don't know. First of all, in the prior stage of our research, we don't know how to perform the literature survey. We don't know how to perform the collection of data, how to write our own language, how to use these our knowledge for publication. Okay, so many of the things, many of the parameters that we have to keep in mind related to the research. Okay, so research ethics, basically it is related to avoid the copy of same work. Okay, copy of same work, copy of same writing. So for this all, the research ethics, they are related with all these points or all these concerns. Okay, so suppose we are writing some research article, we are writing some review article, or we are writing some scientific proposal. Okay, so at that time we should follow the research ethics. Okay, so how to follow the research ethics? There are some principles to maintain, to follow the ethics. So while writing any review article, research article, so how should be the flow of writing of that research article with the ethics? Okay, if you see, we are writing some review article. So how we write the review article? So review articles, they have written on the basis of the available sources. Okay, so review means we are reviewing, we are viewing it again, means review. Okay, so we are viewing whatever the performed research, we are reviewing whatever the performed research, and we are presenting that research in front of new scientists or new researchers. Okay, suppose anyone, someone is working on in pharmacy. Okay, he is working in pharmacy and he would like to work on the liquid dosage form, new liquid dosage form. Okay, so he should have the knowledge. He should have knowledge before starting the actual research work. He should know what is the current scenario of that review article. Okay, so from that review article, he should understand what are the what is the present scenario or what is the current status of the research related to his practical performance. Okay, so at that time, what he will do, he will or he or she will read some article. He or she will read some article and he combine that article and he would write some draft that is called the review draft or review article draft. Okay. So before going to writing the same draft, so writing the same draft or collecting the same data and writing in or copy paste of the same data, that is not acceptable. Okay, that is not acceptable because that will again come in plagiarism. Okay, so this plagiarism could be avoided. This plagiarism could be skipped out by writing the article with our own language. Okay, so someone will ask again, is it possible to write each and every sentence in our own language? So my answer could be, it could be yes, because to present a good research article, to present the research article in good impact factor journal, the researcher, he will take around 6 months to 1 year for writing any review article or research article. Yes, because as we have discussed, every line, it should not be copied as such. Okay. But nowadays, many of the softwares, they are available. So like Quillbot, like Grammarly, these are the softwares which we can use for paraphrasing. Okay, so it means it is not, I mean to say that we are taking all the data and we are running that into the software of Quillbot or that Grammarly, and we are printing the paper. No, it doesn't happen, because the good impact factor journals, the articles which we are publishing in Springer, in Bentham, Taylor and Francis, Web of Science. So for the publication of the articles in good impact factor journals or reputed journals, okay, skip out the that UGC listed journal, because in that they can't see that much of strict, they can't follow these, because some general that journals, they are available in UGC listed. But if we are going for Springer, Scopus for international publication, at that time we have to follow these guidelines. Okay, we have to follow these guidelines, and we have to maintain the clarity. We have to keep out all these copy paste things. Okay, because whenever any other researcher who is going for practical work, who is referring that paper, who is citing to our research article. So at that time, he should get the original research. Okay, he should get original research findings. Okay, it should not be such like it has copied from somewhere and it has placed in our article and we are going to publish. So nowadays it is a big offense to do such practice, but to skip out that wrong practice, there are many options. Okay, my dear friends, there are many options that we can use nowadays. Many AI options. Okay, so artificial intelligence or many softwares nowadays they are available to help us, to help our research, to grow up our research, to progress our research. Okay, so while going with these each and every sentence, we should take care about these things. Okay, so these things are very important. Okay, so this is about writing the review article. So in that case, we have to choose or we have to select any particular thing. Like suppose we are selecting the any methods or we are selecting some points like method development or like plants. We are working on the review article of the plants. We are working on the many chromatographic technique of analysis. So if we are selecting to write the review article, we have such options. So these options we can use for writing. Such options we can use for selecting or preparing the review draft. Okay. So this should be the content of review draft. Okay. In research or in as a scientist, they write review article because as the seniority or as the experience increases in the research, so that researcher or that scientist he may easily find the gap in that research. Okay, so to identify the gap and to work out to solve that gap is very important. Okay, so to identify that gap and to solve that gap is important. So we should try first of all in the synopsis also. While writing the synopsis also, it is very important to write the synopsis without copying from somewhere. Okay, because synopsis is the heart of our research. In that you are writing the plan of work. In that you are writing the problem. In that you are writing the literature survey. So everything we are writing on the synopsis. So while writing all these things, while writing the synopsis or while writing the proposal should be novel, the work should be novel, the writing should be novel. So while writing these proposals, while writing these all the things, this is important to take care about the research or the ethics. Okay, so there are ethics as we have discussed. Ethics related to in science. Okay, in science we have to take care about the ethics in handling of animals, ethics in clinical studies, preclinical studies. Okay, so nowadays we see if the use of animals has been skipped out. Okay, use of animals that has been skipped out from that 12th practicals, 12th science students. Earlier they were studying on the frog, but now it has been stopped. Okay, because there are ethics to handling the animal, and if that is not followed by these students or these faculties or the researchers, so there should be a royalty for that animal. Okay. So to avoid these things, there are ethics. Okay. So where we can say these ethics work in science or in research. Okay. Then while using the environmental thing, okay, while using the environmental thing, that time also we have to follow the ethics. Okay. So many times we heard that somewhere if some earthquakes has happened due to these research implementation. Okay. Some chemical activities, due to some chemical activities, the earthquake or the pollution related to the environment or the pollution related with the rivers or water. Okay, many chemical industries we can see. So in COVID also, the development of the vaccine. So at that time, the spreading of that biological, spreading of that cell, spreading of that virus. So it should be avoided. That should not contaminate or that should not affect to the society. Okay, societal care is very important. Okay, we have to take care about the society first. Our research should be beneficial to the society. It should not be hazardous to the society. Okay, so in this case, the ethics must be followed. Okay, then this is about the writing of review articles, then the different parts of the ethics. Okay. Then if we are studying about the writing of research article by maintaining the research ethics. Okay. So what is in the research article? So research article means the work which we are performing in the lab, that we are exploring to the students or to the other researchers, that could be helpful for the development of this research. Okay. So someone is doing his basic research. Okay. So if we see the journal, that is Nature, which is having high impact factor, or the journal Cell, or the journal Nanomedicine. So these journals are having very high impact factor. So is it not mean that they publish only high impact factor articles or the very high standard research? It is wrong. Actually, they publish the work of basic fundamental research. Okay. Why? Because these fundamental research, as we know the Newton's law, as we know Fick's law, these all laws, they are essential for further research. Okay, so this basic research is very important. So the publication of that basic research is important, because if everyone is working on only basic research, then no one will work on the next stage, okay, next level. Okay. So to maintain the basic research to maintain the development of that research. The researcher have to publish his research work. Okay, otherwise it is not useful. If you are not publishing your research, then it is not useful. So to explore the work from lab to society, these research articles, they play very important role. Okay. So to get explore of this research, the journal, they have given the manuscript, or they give the format of writing the manuscript. Okay. So this manuscript, how should be the content of manuscript, or what should be the content of manuscript? They are important because depending upon this manuscript, the journal, they publish the article. Okay. So every journal, they are having different that formats of manuscript. So to maintain that formats of manuscript, so we have to download that format from the articles journal website. So what is the content of that manuscript? Okay, so generally these researchers who are working in PhDs, okay, you got the admission for the PhDs, but many of the students, they don't know how to write the articles, or which are the different journals that they are available, or which are the, or how to write the review article, research article. So different ethics, they are related to these writings. Okay. So in the research article, how should be the format of that research article? So title, if we see, so title should be specific to write about the research article. Okay. So title, it should express the content of that research. Okay. Otherwise, if we are doing a research different and we are giving the title different, so many drafts that we see while we are working in the editorial board of many journals. So at that time, we see the title is different, and the work of that researcher is different. Okay. So this is very important criteria that we have to content, we have to include the content in which these all points are given, or these research, whatever the research we have done, that should be, that must be included. Okay. So first that is about the title. Okay. So next point, if we see the abstract. Okay. Abstract of that research. Okay. So abstract should be around 400 to 500 words. It should be around 5 to 6 lines minimum, and the content of the research. Okay, so what is the content? This is important, that we are adding the content like the pages, or we are adding the content like the first 2-3 lines that should include the introductory part of our research. Okay. Then next 1-2 lines that should include the methodology of research work. And the last two lines, it should, 2 to 3 lines, it should express the results, whatever we got, and last 1 2 line about the conclusion. Okay. So whatever we are adding, we are writing, so it should be in one flow. Okay, the flow should be maintained. Okay, the maintenance of the flow of research is very important and very useful. Okay, because the flow of the research, the flow of the writing, it must be in uniform way. So it should not happen that like I am teaching something and it is not in the flow. I'm disturbing or I'm not maintaining the flow. Okay, so you will not understand anything. Okay, so that's why the maintenance of the flow is very important. Okay. Then in the next after abstract, if we see the common manuscript, okay, many of the good reputed research articles or research journal, they follow this common agenda of writing the papers. Okay. So next part, or if we see the draft of the research article in the next way, the introductory part. Okay, so this introductory part, it should be, again it should be in flow, because if we are writing the introduction and we are covering or we are exploring only one thing about, if we have selected method, and it should not happen that we are writing about method only in all introduction. Okay, then the introductory part, it also contained about whatever the introduction related to that topic. Okay, introduction related to that topic, because the topic, the researcher, he should know what is actual basic research that has performed, or he should be introduced with then he should identify, or he must be given the content of all the research work. Okay, so that is about the introduction. The next part related to the writing research papers. After writing the introduction, we, as a science student, we have to include the materials methods, whatever the materials methods we are using for our research, or needed for our research, or used for our research, that also we have to include, because what material, what method, or from where it has been procured, that must be known to everyone, to other researchers. Okay, then these materials, then so to perform all these practical work are very important. Okay, methods are very important, but as a science student, the method is very, very important. Okay. So method like preparation, the method like identification, method like characterization. So for different methods for performance of the different methods, these are very important points. Okay. So to use these methods to manufacturing or to preparing or for the development of these points, the methods are very important. Okay. So as a science graduate, we we have to focus more on these methods. Okay. Uh, then next part, if we see about material after materials methods, the point that is result and discussion. Okay. So this result and discussion is also useful in science. Okay. So basically in the science, this result and discussion is important criteria that must be added in research article, because the acceptance of the article in good research journals, it is based upon the this result and discussion. Okay. Just 2 minutes. Okay. Now, so the references used by writing these research papers. Okay. So depending upon the references or citations, how many citations we are taking. So in the review article, the citations or the references that is expected, there should be more references, like more than 35, 30 references are needed in if there are 20, 25 research papers you have used, then also it is acceptable, but it should be genuine one. The good or the better performed research articles we should use, or the research articles which are that should be related with the that actual research. Okay. So it should not happen that any of
or any different that research article that we are using. That should not happen. Okay. Then references we are using for review article that should be more, and references which we are using for research article that should be acceptable if we are taking some little less as compared to the review article. Okay. If we are writing any proposal, research proposal, okay, so for that also we need the uh, references. Okay, so for that also we need references. We are writing any synopsis, then also we want the references. Okay, so without references, our research is not considered as a standard or as a genuine or as a supportive. So as support system, we are using the different references. So reference must be standard. So that reference will give the orientation to our researcher, or if suppose someone is using our article and we have given anything in the references, okay, that is not correlating with our topic, then this is not ethical. Okay, this is not ethical with our uh, profession. Okay, so to be honest, and as a researcher, it is the basic requirement of the researcher is the honesty. Okay, so honesty is very important while writing, while preparing, while doing any research. Okay, so this could be the one uh, point or one part of the writing research proposals and to maintain the ethics in the science, in the research, in the science research, it must be followed. Okay, it must be followed. Okay, then if we see the principles of research ethics, okay, we have gone through some ethics in last lecture. We have discussed some ethics. Okay, so the points, there are 7-8 ethics that should be maintained. So the practice or in practice, these ethical principles or the maintenance of the ethical means that as a researcher we need to be obtain, inform the consent from potential research participants. Okay, so some researcher is working on some new point, but he want to get the information, or he want to receive the information related to these Deuteraggregate, it is related to be take the concern. Okay, take the concern of the researcher who has already used some basic research. Okay, so suppose as for example, I have worked on microwave assisted technique. Okay, so microwave assisted technique I have used, but some other researcher he want to use the microwave assisted method. Okay, so in that microwave assisted method, suppose I have included the point of the research is that to make the extraction, to make the chemical synthesis, I am using the microwave assisted technique. But that microwave assisted technique is not used by other earlier. Okay, and I am the person and the scientist who are working on the development of different methods for microwave synthesis. Okay, so in that case, it is not acceptable, it is not considered that the microwave method is used by some others, and if he has taken the consent from me regarding the same, so at that time it is not objectionable. Okay, so but that consent should be taken by mail or some document. It should be available with that other scientist. Otherwise, if you are taking the oral consent or oral things, it is not work as the proof. Okay, so we have to maintain the proof for these work. Okay, these articles or for this research. So taking consent is the requirement or ethical requirement. Okay, then to minimize the risk of harm to participants. So as we have discussed, there should be less risk of the harmness, because many of the things, many of the time, the things which are harmful, which are harmful to any person, it should not be harmful, as we have discussed, for preclinical, clinical aspects. So it should not be harmful with any person, any animal, any environment. Okay, so it should be minimum hazardous, it should be minimum effective to the that research, that must be less effective to the society. Okay, so next point related to the ethics, principles of ethics. So protect their anonymity and confidentiality. Yes, this is very, very important to maintain the confidentiality of that researcher, because many times we see the relation between student and teacher, that is ethical relation. Okay, some binding is there. Okay, so in the science or in the research, this ethics, this confidentiality, this responsibility is very, very important. Okay, so many times we heard that the work has not performed by some researcher, and he has published his research in journal or in the article. So why could this happen? Because due to misbehavior, due to miscommunication, due to the wrong perception, this could happen. Okay, so to avoid these, to avoid the problem, or to maintain the principle of confidentiality. Okay. Uh, so, for example, if we have performed some research and we sent that research for the publication, okay, publication with some journal, some conference proceedings, some institutes, okay, or for some patent. Okay, we have many of the patent attorneys. We have the many consultants who work in the research, or suppose some product that has been developed by some researcher with concern to his guide, and supposed to take the help of some other, like characterization, identification. So at that time, if our research has leaked, okay, or due to for some references, we have given our manuscript to someone, and he has published your research without responsibility or without your consent. So at that time, this is a misconduct. So this is not by ethics. So at that time, the researcher or the scientist, he will feel very sad, because actually to develop any research, to maintain the that purity in research, he has given some researcher has given whole life for the development of that some product or some any research work. Okay. Then to avoid the using deceptive practices, okay, and give participants to write. Okay, so these are main research ethics, like autonomy, non-maleficence, beneficence, and justice. So it must be maintained. Uh, Please mute your mic.
जीएमसी मध्ये पण होतात. हे दुसरे टेस्ट जीएमसी
Netre
मध्ये
sir,
पण होत नाही. आपल्याकडे जे आहे ना जीएमसी मध्ये पण येते. आता जे टेस्ट इकडे लोकलला होतात ते टेस्ट नाही पण आले.
actually, please tell him to mute the mic. Okay, I have mute from my side to him. Then the misconduct of these ethics. Okay, misconduct of that ethics. This will perform, or this will happen because of wrong perception. Okay, wrong perception. Why this wrong perception happens? Because as a schedule, or as a this protocol, due to the unmaintenance, or due to the wrong perception, this will happen. Okay. So the point related with this philosophy and the ethics. Okay. Then in scientific conduct, the selective reporting and representation of data. Then ethics with respect to science and research, we have discussed these scientific conduct and publication ethics. Okay. So in these publication ethics and scientific conduct, the ethics with respect to science and research. Okay. So these are the ethics, they are related to science and research. Then intellectual honesty and research integrity. Okay. Then scientific misconduct like falsification, fabrication, and plagiarism. Then redundant publication like duplicating and overlapping publications. Then selective reporting and misrepresentation of data. Okay. Then in publication ethics, the publication definition, introduction, and importance. Then writing the research article, then conflict of interest, then best practice, standard setting initiative and guidelines, COPE and WEM, COPE and WAM. So these COPE in research ethics. So this COPE is the Committee on Publication Ethics. So Committee on Publication Ethics, as the manuscript guidelines have been given. Okay, manuscript guidelines have been given or have been issued by these journals. So that has been included or that has been discussed with publication ethics. Then where the publication misconduct happen, okay, so lead to unethical behavior due to these day-to-day practice like NBA, NAC, or for completion of research, for getting the some research funding. Many of the these requirement of that publication. So how this publication is significant, or due to the importance of the publication, the researcher are moving toward unethical publication. Okay, so this unethical behavior should be changed. As I have told you, within 1 year, if you are publishing one review article there in good, impact, reputed journal, then it is very good. Okay, while publishing 5 papers in non-reputed journal. Okay, in US, in UK, in developed countries, or in Portugal, or in where the research, in Israel, where the research is having potential, in China also, there the publication number is very less of any scientist, but the citation is very high because that research is having the potential to be used by other researcher, and automatically that will develop the citation, that will develop the H index, that will develop the impact factor or I10 factor. Okay, so all these factors, they are very useful to avoid this unethical behavior. Okay. Then violation of publication ethics, authorship, contributorship. As we know, some research articles, they are having number of that authors, like 20 authors, 25 authors. Is it really the contribution of that much of author is needed? So my answer could be yes, because if you are working on any basic problem also, then it is not possible to perform all the work at your own institute. We have to take help of many other that specialized person. So someone will work to procure the material, someone will work on the writing of the things, someone will work on the publication, someone will work on the drafting, someone will work on the characterization. So everyone, if working there, so why not there could be the writing of the author's name more than 20. So it is possible. So we should write uh, all these guidelines or all these things which are useful in writing the things. But so these things are very important while maintaining the publication misconduct. So why this misconduct will happen? Because due to the uh, writing of or due to writing the interest or the if someone has got the financial assistance from external bodies like DST, DBT, universities. So many of the ICMR, they provide the funding to the researchers, and we have to mention the name of conflict of interest in audit authorship. We have to express. It is the responsibility of the researcher that he has to maintain or he has to mention the name of all the participants or all the helping hands which are uh, given some inputs in the development of that research. Okay. Then if we see in the references also, some industries, okay, some industries they provide in our pharmacy, the industry they will provide the API, okay, or they will provide some excipients. Okay, so so in these excipients, we have to, it's our duty to write, to mention the name of that excipients or API in our research article. Okay, so identification of these authorship is also important, and contribution. Then identification of publication misconduct, complaint, and appeals. Okay, as a researcher, we have the freedom to make the complaint, to make the appeal with the article, or as the patent office, patent attorney. If we have gone for the publication of our patent, so in that they publish the patent for public use, or they publish or they open the work for public. And if suppose some industry, some researcher has already performed the work on that, then he will claim that this is the work which I have already performed, I have already conducted. So it will be avoided. Okay, it will be avoided. So we have right to make the appeal with related to the misconduct. Okay, and then predatory publishers and journals. So as we have discussed with the number of journals, number of publications. Okay, so they have they are publishing the paper or research without checking the standard. By taking some publication fees, they are publishing the articles, so they will not check whatever the requirement, or they will not check whatever the uh, standard. Okay, so that standard that must be followed, the standard that must be maintained by the publisher. Predatory journal, the UGC has also the published or the list of the journals which are clone journals or predatory journals. So by checking the that journal, is it in Scopus or is it in UGC listed? So that is also we can check on the website of the UGC. So that will be maintained by the researcher or the publisher. Okay, he has to maintain the ethics of publication. Okay. Yes, Maitre sir, any problem? Any question is there? Maitre sir has raised his hand. Okay, so if we see these points related to the research and publication ethics, I have covered these points like scientific conduct and publication ethics. So if you feel any problem related to these two, please, the session is open for the discussion, or if you have any question, the session is open. Okay.
सर
हाँ sir. Is there any question to anyone? Yes, Murray sir. Suraj Chole sir, just a minute. There is one message in chat mentioning referred paper in reference and giving citation is same or is it different? So in referred paper references we are mentioning, that is same with relation to giving the citations. Both are the same. Both are the same. Citation means referencing. Yes. Any other question?
सेकंड इयर होती.
जातो का मॅडम ते मॅडम आले मॅडम.
Okay, I will stop my session if there is no any question.
हॅलो हॅलो पटवेकर सर. हॅलो
Sir,
हा झाला का सर?
yes, sir. Just
Okay, okay. So, dear participants, if you have any difficulties, please ask. Hello.
yes.
Okay. Nahi. If no difficulties, we will stop here.
Okay.
So I must express my thanks to Dr. Patwekar sir for sparing his valuable time for our students and for giving a nice and informative lecture for students of coursework. So thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Can I
So-
leave the meeting, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, you may.
Okay, thank you.
So, dear participants, our next guest is Dr. Mirza sir from People's College Nanded. I think he will be joined shortly. Okay. Dear participants, I think Mirza sir will join at 1 o'clock. So I think we will end this meeting and we will again rejoin at 1 o'clock. Right? Hello. Hello.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay.